Before I start this review, I just want to say that I'm totally with Santa's Little Helper on this one. That newspaper looks chewy and delicious. Hi, I'm Torin, and welcome to Torin Loves the Simpsons. Today we're looking at Season 2, Episode 16, Bart's Dog Gets an F, an episode where Bart's dog graduates from obedience school. Let's dive on in. Let's start with the humor, and this is much like the previous episode where there aren't really any standout moments, but we get a pretty steady stream of good, solid jokes to make the episode feel fun. That said, there is one moment in particular I want to examine, even if it's not a standout joke. The bit where Homer dips from work early and asks Lenny to cover for him, to which Lenny agrees and complies quite accurately by grabbing a donut and vegging out. It's quite a bit quicker of a punch than much of the humor of the rest of the season, and what I mean by that, since that's terminology I've used in previous videos and never really explained, is that it either has no setup or a very quick setup, it's brief, and it's not plot relevant. In this case, it's literally Lenny's only appearance in the entire episode, as well as the only time Homer's work life is mentioned. This kind of humor is still pretty rarely seen in Season 2. We've only seen it show up in a few episodes so far, but it's one of the main defining characteristics of the show's humor. Starting around Season 3-ish, it's complicated. What I really like about this particular joke is that it takes that quick and punchy characteristic and spins it in a way that still feels very at home in Season 2. A lot of the jokes we see later on are more in the absurd vein, even as early as Lisa and her friends giving Maggie a makeover in Flaming Moe's in Season 3, but the only thing that feels wacky or absurd here is that Lenny would be shirking his own duties. But if Homer can get away with his work ethic, it stands to reason Lenny can too. I also really like the quip about how the shoe store's warranty doesn't cover fire, theft, or acts of dog. It reminds me of one of my favorite video games, Rise of the Triad, released in 1995 because I love boomer shooters. You better believe Civvy is one of my favorite channels, where there's a God mode power-up, but also a dog mode power-up. So puns swapping out dog in place of God have a very good association in my mind. Who knows, perhaps this episode played some role in inspiring Rise of the Triad's dog mode. Now I can't help but wonder if Tom Hall is or ever was a Simpsons fan. The ending bit where they show brief epilogues for a few of the dogs is excellent and caps off the episode very nicely. It's a great parody of a device I believe was really common in 90s comedy movies. I could be way off base since I live under a rock, but for some reason I associate it with 90s comedies, and this is a great parody. The entire dog graduation scene comes a little out of nowhere because, like I said a minute ago, Season 2 usually stays in a pretty realistic lane, so this ending hits on some absurdity that we're set up not to expect, and I think they did it very well. While I don't think there are any other particular jokes or moments in this episode that bear discussion, I do think this is a fun and enjoyable episode, and I love to see early hints of the comedic style the show would develop over the following few years. I'm giving this one an A+ for humor. Plot-wise, this episode is first remarkable for arguably having a B-plot, even if it merges with the main plot mid-episode, and that would be Lisa having the mumps. I love how Marge has tracked down Dr. Hibbert's home phone number and how humorously Dr. Hibbert takes it. It's certainly not something I'd personally do in Marge's shoes, and I'd probably not be so happy about it in Dr. Hibbert's shoes, but it just strikes me as kinda delightful here. The B-plot becomes relevant to the main plot, of course, when Santa's Little Helper tears apart the family quilt, but then it takes just as much back from the main plot when it continues on with Lisa starting a new quilt, and that's pretty cool. I'm gonna give this B-plot an A. As for the main plot, it has an early strike against it when Homer tells Marge the dog is hungry, and when Marge replies that Homer should feed him, Homer gets all pissy about it. Like, WTF, man. That doesn't sound like Homer to me. I get that we need to establish Homer as the villain in the story, as he is the one spearheading the threat to exile Santa's Little Helper, but the Homer Simpson I know would much sooner whine and complain about it than directly sass Marge like that. He's lazy and he hates doing stuff, but he loves and respects Marge. Or at least he's supposed to, and that's how he's characterized in almost every other episode. Usually except for quick punch jokes like when he encourages Bart to push Marge down in the beginning of Bart Gets an Elephant, a joke that relies on our understanding that Homer respects Marge and subverts that understanding to achieve its comedic goal. It's kinda unpleasant to watch Homer be rude to Marge like this. The episode does hit some pretty powerful emotional notes towards the end. Lisa telling Bart to enjoy his last moments with Santa's little helper definitely got to me, followed quickly by Bart breaking down over the impending loss. It gives Santa's little helper's ultimate success so much more weight. It truly feels like a victory because we've seen how much of a bond Bart feels with him and what the loss would mean to him. Also, Santa's little helper learning all of a sudden in response to Bart crying does a great job of walking the line between the fairly strict realism of the first 2 seasons and the tiny bits of, I guess, supernaturalism that begin to infiltrate the show during seasons 3 and 4. It's potentially possible that Santa's little helper just needed it to click, and Bart's breakdown was the final catalyst needed, so it isn't a clear break from reality in nearly the same way as something like Leonard Nimoy teleporting away in Marge vs. the Monorail. All in all, while the early hit of Homer being a dick to Marge definitely hurts the episode a little bit, the ending really gets it right, and I like how the main plot and B-plot interact with each other. I'm giving the plot an A. And now for the final rating. Humor got an A+, and both the plot and B-plot got an A. I'm going with A overall, but a strong A, borderline A+. This one is really solid. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to do the like and subscribe thing if you enjoy my videos, and I love hearing other opinions in the comments. Up next, we're looking at old money, so I'll see you in that video.